A new downtown Wheaton, making connections in White Flint, and a recycling project with a heart. All that and the latest news coming up next on Montgomery Plans. Thanks for watching Montgomery Plans. I'm Michael Brown. We're here to bring you up to date on important land use issues facing those who live and work in Montgomery County. Today's show explores how the county is helping jumpstart the revitalization of downtown Wheaton, how a new plan for part of White Flint will help bridge a divided community, and how your old computer equipment can help a family in need. But first, let's go to the top news-making decisions of the Montgomery County Planning Board.
Welcome to Plans in the News. I'm Susan Kennedy. Montgomery County planners have drafted a sector plan for the Tacoma-Langley Crossroads area that will reinforce the community's best features, such as its vibrant mix of small businesses and affordable housing opportunities. Parts of the draft sector plan, which goes to the County Council for consideration in the coming weeks, include ways to expand housing opportunities, strengthen economic opportunities, and improve connections. Originally, the plan started off as a joint process between Montgomery and Prince George's counties. The Tacoma-Langley community is bisected by University Boulevard, and there are development opportunities on both sides.
We're looking at the introduction of transit facilities, including the Purple Line, which would happen at the intersection of University and New Hampshire. And we're also looking at the introduction of a transit center. And so because this is a huge amount of public investment going into a very small area, we thought this was an opportunity to actually provide some additional benefits to the community. And the best way to do that was through the sector plan process.
When the Planning Board first submitted its draft sector plan for Tacoma-Langley last September, it recommended a set of commercial residential zones, or CR as planners call it, on all commercially zoned and developed properties. In January, the County Council asked the Planning Board to consider amendments to the plan to reflect proposed changes to the CR zones. There was a concern that the CR zone might be too intense for a smaller community like Tacoma-Langley Crossroads.
So what we ended up doing was looking at the new commercial residential transit zone, which is the CRT zone. We ended up using that, and we saw that it was applicable to this area. It actually provided some protections for some of the smaller property owners, and it required less public benefits and amenities to be applied, and that was something that everyone found very attractive.
The CR zones were created to encourage a variety of uses in some of the county's commercial areas. They are designed to create interactive streetscapes where people can live, work, shop, and play all in one neighborhood. The CRT zone, Commercial Residential Transit, for Tacoma-Langley Crossroads, is more flexible and will cost businesses there less to implement.
What it also does is it requires less public benefits and amenities be provided in order to achieve the optional density method, and that was something that people found very attractive.
Williams says throughout this process, planners did an enormous amount of outreach to the community, and much of the feedback on the plan has been positive. The sector plan is now currently in the hands of the County Council's Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee, and it will move on to the Council for its vote later this summer. The Chelsea School in Silver Spring is also in the news. Recently, the school announced plans to relocate, and the developer who purchased the property wants to replace the school with residential development. To make that happen, the developer needs a change in the zoning.
And I would like to start by
residents from the community surrounding the school packed the Planning Board hearing room to voice their opinion on the plan to build townhomes on the site, the zoning change proposal being a key part of their testimony.
Is a transitional zone.
In the end, planners agreed with the recommendation to approve the rezoning.
The applicant here is proposing for the RT15 floating zone, and because it's a floating zone, the board has certain criteria that's established in the zoning ordinance. The board will look at whether the master plan designates a site for the floating zone, whether it's an appropriate density for the location, or whether it's an appropriate transition from the central business district to the residential neighborhoods to the north. what floating zones do is they allow a property owner to request a rezoning on their property that's outside the master planning process. And because the master planning process only happens between every 15 to 30 years, it's very important to allow this mechanism for a property owner to rezone their land.
The townhomes will be situated in the middle of the site, with the surrounding area becoming public park space. Damon Orabona says the townhomes will provide a good transition from high-rise buildings to single-family homes in the neighborhood.
When we look at this RT15 floating zone, you define a surrounding area around the property. Now, if you look in this particular location, you have a very diverse neighborhood. You have the very high density commercial uses to the south in the Silver Springs Central Business District, and lower density residential neighborhoods to the north.
The developer plans to preserve the historic Riggs-Thompson house as a single-family home and design all of the new townhouses to meet LEED standards. 10 moderately priced dwelling units are part of the plan as well. In keeping with the county's smart growth vision, the site is close to shopping, transportation, and other urban amenities. The projected move of the school is scheduled for next summer. If the rezoning request is approved by the County Council, construction of the townhomes will take about 2 years after the school is demolished.
On this site, there was some ambiguous language in the master plan for prohibition of townhouse zones in this plan. Now, it turns out when you read when you really parse the words of the master plan, that was for a specific recommendation along Georgia Avenue, which is not where the subject property was. So when I read through the master plan, I didn't think that it was a prohibition on townhomes anywhere in the planning area, and the board agreed with me 4-1.
I'm Susan Kennedy for Plans in the News.
Serving your community is a great feeling. The Montgomery County Volunteer Center can connect you to hundreds of volunteer opportunities available throughout the area. Are you a student, senior, professional, community group, or business looking to serve? Simply visit our website to select what's right for you and help celebrate the 25th anniversary of Community Service Day by taking part in our Pledge 25 Challenge. The Montgomery County Volunteer Center. Make an impact in your community. Where will you serve?
Downtown Wheaton, known for its wonderfully diverse cultural offerings, is poised for change. In the coming months, the County Council will consider a new sector plan for this community. Our focus segment today features Wheaton planners, county economic development specialists, and business owners looking at the opportunities that lie ahead.
Almost 20 years after the Planning Department last examined Wheaton's commercial center, a new vision is emerging. Planning staff recommended and the board approved a new sector plan to help guide future land use and development for the 484 acres surrounding the Wheaton Metro Station. Recently transmitted to the County Council for review and eventual approval, this plan for Wheaton is expected to reinvigorate the downtown, building on the community's strengths and envisioning an expansive future. A visit to downtown Wheaton is an international experience. Salvadoran, Italian, Southeast Asian, Brazilian, Irish. This diversity is something the county aims to build upon as this community's revitalization moves forward. To learn more, I met up with Sandy Talent, lead planner for Wheaton, at Ron Thai, one of hundreds of small ethnic restaurants in the planning area.
I always like to try something new.
We began by discussing what makes Wheaton special.
There are already a lot of fabulous things already in Wheaton. There are a tremendous amount of small businesses. Many of them are, most of them in fact, are independently owned and reflect the cultural diversity that's within the county. And it's great because in addition to these small businesses, you also have the Wheaton Westfield Mall, which brings the national retailers. So both of those combined, which is very unique in Montgomery County, you're bringing a lot of shoppers to Wheaton. So what we want to do is to build upon the retail that's here and develop more residential units and more office or business development. So the plan becomes the vision and the framework for Wheaton's future, and we set a zoning envelope that really helps direct the kind of development that we're going to get.
New zoning will allow for denser development centered around Metro. David Dice, who directs the county's Office of General Services, explains how to set the plan in motion.
Well, the sector plan's very well thought out and well prepared, and the county's involvement in this is to help make that come alive. The county actually owns quite a bit of property in Wheaton, and the public sector in general does. The Washington Metro has a large bus bay area right at the intersection of Georgia and Veers Mill. The county has a number of parking lots and a parking garage. The county's Regional Services Center is right in the heart of Wheaton. So the county's working with its partnership with WMATA is in a position to leverage those properties, spur the development of commercial and office use in Wheaton, which is one of the things that Wheaton lacks the most. There's a number of housing components and projects planned, but what Wheaton needs is the vitality of an office environment with people that can work there, spend their time and money at lunch, after for dinner, and creates the synergy that Wheaton currently lacks.
Because small businesses are an integral component of what makes Wheaton, Wheaton, the county is actively assisting entrepreneurs who want to start up a new business or grow an existing one.
Gracias. Gracias a ustedes.
Pete McGinnity is the business development manager in the Wheaton Redevelopment Office.
My particular responsibility really relates to assisting small businesses. An essential component of the Wheaton community has been its small businesses for a period of time, and keeping small businesses a part of the character of Wheaton is essential. So I'm here really to support that and really try to assist businesses in maintaining their current status, as well as prepare for redevelopment and revitalization and some of the challenges and the opportunities that they face with that.
The Limerick Pub opened its doors in Wheaton in early 2011. Neil Foley, one of the proprietors, named it for his hometown in Ireland. Thanks to Pete's connections, Neil and his partner were able to secure the financing they so desperately needed.
We opened on March 7th. It came very dangerously close to not being open before St. Patrick's Day. I would have been real vexed if we hadn't been open for St. Patrick's Day, but we were. We couldn't have opened without the support of the state getting the neighbourhood business loan, and that meant everything to us. And it was a learning experience for us, so talking to people like Pete, who's extremely experienced at what he does, it was just a pleasure working with him down through the years.
The county isn't only helping new businesses, they're here for established ones as well. Hung Fat Asian Market has been here since 1996.
I think if you want to do, you do own better.
Owner Lenny Ung is excited about Wheaton's future.
We like area here because safe place, and we have a lot of Asian community here, and also the county support us a lot. Every customer bought something, we all tell customers they want this place grow, so we try to do the best too. We want this growing. We are proud, I think, the county do the right thing. We want to do together. So we love this place here.
Another supporter of Wheaton's small ethnic businesses is the Latino Economic Development Corporation. Executive Director Manny Hidalgo says that helping existing businesses weather the coming revitalization is key.
There's tremendous opportunity here. We got this massive redevelopment, about 500 square feet of new commercial retail space, plenty of great new housing opportunities. What they felt they were missing is a nonprofit organization that could help the small businesses, particularly the ethnically owned ones, of which is the large majority. It's about 400 ethnically owned small businesses right here in Wheaton. Make sure that they can benefit from the redevelopment process and not be the victims of it, if you will. Not be gentrified from Wheaton, but rather thrive.
This is caramelo, special de caramelo bakery.
The biggest piece often missing is access to capital, and that's why we've really focused a lot of our energy and efforts on the micro-lending piece and the small business technical assistance and the training. We've done quite a few loans right here in Wheaton, walking distance from this office.
Terramina has been operating in Wheaton for more than 40 years. Current owner, Maria Palmero, has owned it since 2002. She creates party invitations and favors for every occasion.
Our population is about 90% Spanish, and we have a lot of Spanish walk-ins all the time. And we also have a lot of Greeks, Italians, but the majority is Spanish.
Maria attended a few meetings hosted by LEDC where she learned about the sector plan.
It will improve the area, in terms of more space for people to walk around, enjoy themselves with their families in the evenings, cleaner places, walkways, parking spaces, a new outlook. I'm looking forward to that.
Responding to business owners like Palmero, the new sector plan focuses on Wheaton's public spaces.
So the plan recommends connected open spaces, so there's opportunity for play and for more green space, but also to improve the streetscape so it's pedestrian oriented, so it's comfortable to walk, and there are more street trees, and it now becomes a central gathering place.
We believe that Wheaton can be a true destination of diversity, eclectic. The Taste of Wheaton, that's already a wonderful success, is just a sampling of what we believe Wheaton really can become.
When Montgomery Plans returns, Around Town with Rollin Stanley. Stay with us. On today's Around Town, Rollin Stanley takes Susan Kennedy on a tour of what could be phase 2 of redevelopment of White Plains.
Rollin, we're here off of Route 355 in an area that's sort of tucked away from the main drag, if you will, of White Flint. Tell us about this particular shopping center that we're standing in and the diversity of the businesses here.
Certainly. We're in the area called Randolph Hills, and low-rise buildings you see around us, single-family homes over here, and then a very diverse market back here where we have East Indian, Israeli, etc., the Goodwill stop. This is a focal point for the neighborhood that offers a lot of services that you don't normally find in places. For example, if you want to do woodworking, behind here there's a woodworking place where you can go in and by the hour rent their tools. And at the same time, over to the west, we have the growing White Flint area where we've just recently done a master plan. So this is a critical area where we're standing to tie the neighborhood into what's happening over the White Flint.
What can we do? I mean, obviously this is something that we need to think about. This is an important little enclave, if you will, of this area that maybe a lot of people don't know about. What do we need to do to retain these small businesses here?
It's a challenging area because a lot of things will be happening in White Flint, so this becomes more of a niche area for retail, not unlike what you see here. So I would anticipate that slowly, as this area changes, and it will be slow, you will see these businesses stay and in fact flourish and become the places that you won't normally see, like the woodworking shop or other things that you would see in White Flint.
What about who lives around here? Tell me about the neighborhoods that are adjacent to this particular shopping center.
One of the residents told me that where he lives, he's been there 5 years. 5 years ago, in the 5 houses around him, there were no kids. Today there's 8. He has an Israeli family, a Russian family, an Italian family. It's very diverse. And the great thing is, it's a place where people will move to and stay a long time. And people really take care of their properties, and they're looking for services that they can either walk to or drive to for the bigger things. And so there's a lot of potential, but it's not going to change fast.
We're going to move on next to the Newmark, the site of the Newmark train station, so let's take a walk this way.
Okay.
You talked a little bit about connections for the folks that live around this area who are trying to get to work and to shopping, and we're standing here on the train tracks near where the Newmark train station is set to be built. Tell us how this is going to help this community here.
Well, it may be a little hard to visualize as we look in both directions to see if a train is coming, but this is potentially the new location for the Mark station. Just at the end of our view here is basically the Garrett Park train station, where the restaurant and other things is. they don't get a lot of boardings each day. And so to maximize the investment in the rail, putting the station here will generate a lot more ridership, especially with what is going to be happening just over here in White Flint 1. But it's also that when the MARC station goes in, we'll create the connection over the tracks that provides a lot more opportunity for people to walk in to get what they need, as opposed to driving. So it'll reduce, hopefully, vehicle miles traveled for work trips, as well as the kind of trips we see on Saturdays and after work.
I see ride-on buses just over the hill here. How will it fit into that?
The White Flint 1 plan actually looks at the ride-on facility being located elsewhere and maximizing the investment in the rail infrastructure by putting higher density employment uses there and residential, so people can come here, get off the train and work, or walk across over to here, get in the new station, the trains, and go north or south to employment. It's critical that we maximize what we've invested in infrastructure such as the rail corridor. Putting higher density uses on the White Flint 1 side will take advantage of that.
Okay, Rollin, we're going to get in the car. Where to next?
Well, where we're headed to next is to drive over the Montrose underpass and have a look at what impact that's had on the future of White Flint 1 and 2.
We're about to go under the new Montrose Road underpass. How does this road fit in with the plan that's been laid out for White Flint 1?
This is a defining moment for the area south of Montrose and the area north of Montrose. And you'll see as we go under that this is old style transportation infrastructure in that it consumes vast amounts of land that basically sterilizes tens of acres here that can't be used for anything else. And as we go under, you can just see the size of it. And will people walk from White Flint 1 south of Montrose to go north to whatever happens north of Montrose? Probably not, because it's almost a half mile of nothing. And as a result, the north of Montrose area is going to be completely different than the south of Montrose area. And it presents a tremendous challenge to attract the people to both areas, because if you drive to the south area to eat, you may not drive to the north area to shop.
Just not a good use, again, of what little land we have left here in Montgomery County.
That's a very good point.
Okay, now we're going to head over to Executive and Old Georgetown and take a look at some existing office buildings that are in place, and we'll talk a little bit about how those fit into the plan.
Visitors must enter this lane.
We're standing here in a parking lot of some office buildings that have been here for quite some time and are part of the White Flint 2 master plan. Tell us how the plan can benefit these buildings that have been here for such a long time.
That's a great question, because you've got terrific infrastructure here and employment uses. They're wonderful additions to the county. But at the same time, they can maximize the potential of their infrastructure, the infrastructure the county's paid, and at the same time make it a greener place by, perhaps getting rid of it. I think they have like 4 acres of surface parking here. And so what we've been discussing with them preliminarily is, well, could you put your parking, say here, turn it into a structured facility with green roofs? Well, yes you can, but structured parking is expensive. What's the return? They won't do it unless there's a return. Well, the return is we have the potential here to do, say, 1 level below grade, 1 level above in concrete, and then you put 5 levels of stick-built construction above it for residential uses. And a great example, 3 new condo buildings over by the Harris Teeter store. It's the message we're saying all the time is, with such little land left to build, it makes sense, because we're going to grow, is to have those people come into where we've already built the infrastructure. So this is where the future of the county is with respect to growth, because it's not going into our existing neighborhoods.
Okay, Ron, this has been a lot of great information. Thanks. This has been a great episode of Around Town. I'm Susan Kennedy. We'll be back again next time, maybe in your neighborhood.
According to the Consumer Electronics Association, on average, Americans own 24 electronic devices per household. Televisions, computers, cell phones. We all rely on products powered by electricity or batteries. And as we upgrade, scores of outdated TVs, VCRs, cassette decks, CD players, and cell phones are scrapped every day. Because the equipment that's discarded can be dangerous if disposed of improperly, managing our e-waste is important. There are lots of options for safely recycling and reusing outdated electronics. From manufacturers' take-back programs to recycling events, it's easy to find a way to keep old equipment from ending up in the landfill. Today's Green segment takes a look at one such option with a value-added outcome. When it's time to get rid of that old laptop, monitor, printer,
they never made a better one,
and even accessories, consider a donation to Project Reboot. It's a place where old computer equipment is given new life and, in the process, helps people in need. The brainchild of Jerry Rosenkrantz, Project Reboot opened its doors in 1995.
When we started out, we were doing probably a couple of computers a week, maybe a dozen a month. We're now processing a minimum of 200 a month, generally between 200 and 300 computers a month.
Some of the computers can be brought back to life with a simple tweak here and there.
A lot of that equipment is very good. It's functional. People throw away working computers all the time. I can't believe what they throw out. You can see what's going on.
Project Reboot encourages everyone to think before they toss any old electronics because usually someone could use it. This not-for-profit organization is staffed by an army of volunteers from all walks of life and all levels of experience, and each is ready to help.
And I basically did it to learn, and so I've been coming ever since, and it's addictive, mentally addictive.
I'm not a technical person, but I like fooling around with stuff, and these gentlemen are much more knowledgeable than I am, and I enjoy doing it. It keeps me off the street, you know.
Even students chip in.
I am learning about laptops, software, and how to diagnose one and how to repair them.
Well, I think it's the right thing to do, trying to keep stuff out of the landfill. I think it's important that we reuse some of our old equipment instead of throwing it away. And in the meantime, other people who can't afford it can benefit from that.
So did you get what you wanted?
Yes, thank you.
What did you?
Non-profit organizations and individuals referred by them can purchase one of these refurbished machines, usually for a very low price of $10. And often, this is their first opportunity to own a computer.
I'm here to get a computer. I read somewhere that the senior citizens, they're using it a lot.
That I got it for a reasonable price. Being a single mom, I was able to get a computer, and I'm in school also to help me with school and my children.
What I heard from at least one of the programs was that a family that gets a computer with a child in school, the kids' letter grades go up. That's what keeps me going. Not that I'm just recycling, you know, taking junk and making it usable, but the fact that I'm changing the lives of people, and, you know, we're making a difference.
So, everybody wins. Outdated equipment is treated as a resource rather than trash. Potentially dangerous materials are kept out of the landfill. And people who otherwise could not afford it can purchase their own computer. Project Reboot is located just off I-270 on the corner of Choke Cherry and Shady Grove Roads. Donations are accepted on Mondays from 1 to 5 and Wednesdays from 10 to 4.
Bring it in. I'll take care of this, sir.
For complete donation information and a list of accepted items, go to www.reboot.cpcug.org. Visit our website at montgomeryplanning.org for complete, up-to-date planning information in Montgomery County. There, you'll find ways to access the Planning Department's many services. You can check out our blogs, see what's going on, submit feedback, and follow us on Facebook. Well, that does it for this edition of Montgomery Plans. Join us again next time when we bring you more on the issues that affect quality of life here in Montgomery County. I'm Michael Brown. Thanks for watching.